The Oklahoma City Thunder head into Game 3 of their first-round playoff series against the Phoenix Suns with a 2-year lead, but there is a clear pattern hanging over this team as they prepare to play in hostile territory for the first time this postseason. The defending NBA champions have lost 3 consecutive Game 3s on the road, dropping those matchups against the Denver Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Indiana Pacers by a combined 50 points. That is a significant and troubling trend for a franchise that otherwise prides itself on consistency and preparation. Breaking that streak is no longer just about momentum. With a 3-0 series lead within reach, it has become a matter of urgency. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. The path to avoiding that fate begins in the opening minutes. Both games of this series against Phoenix have started slowly for Oklahoma City on the offensive end. In the regular season, the Thunder built their identity around disciplined execution and sharp decision-making from the jump. But in these playoffs, their offensive engines have taken time to warm up, and slow starts on the road, in front of a crowd that will be desperate to keep the Suns alive, carry far more risk than they do at Paycom Center. Every possession in Phoenix will feel heightened, and a poor start against a team playing for its season could unravel the control OKC has shown throughout this series. History reinforces this concern in stark terms. When OKC won its only Game 3 on the road during last season's championship run, it came against the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round, and it was an unforgettable comeback. Oklahoma City fell behind by 29 points before rallying in the fourth quarter to steal the game. That kind of resilience is remarkable, but it is not a strategy anyone on the Oklahoma City coaching staff is interested in relying on. Digging out of a massive hole in Phoenix where the crowd will be loud, the Suns will be playing with their backs against the wall, and the energy will be at its peak is a far more dangerous proposition than anything they encountered against Memphis, against stronger competition in the later rounds of last season's title run. Those early offensive struggles became defining liabilities. Teams at that level do not surrender leads easily. A Thunder team that falls behind on the road tends to find the game becoming increasingly difficult to manage, and opposing defenses that are already scheming against OKC's tempo and execution will be even better positioned to exploit any vulnerability in the early minutes. The Thunder's habit of slow starts on the road has cost them before, and the Suns' desperation makes this an especially dangerous environment to let that pattern repeat itself. The injury to Jalen Williams makes the need for a fast start even more pressing. Williams, one of the team's most important offensive players, is out with a left hamstring strain and will be evaluated on a weekly basis. His absence removes a primary scoring option and forces the rest of the roster to contribute in ways they have not been consistently required to at this stage of the postseason. Without him creating mismatches, drawing fouls, and scoring efficiently from multiple areas of the floor, OKC's offensive structure requires other players to step into larger roles immediately. Despite that setback, there is genuine reason for confidence. In Game 2, the Thunder controlled the second half behind strong execution and a home crowd that kept the energy high. Head coach Mark Daigneault highlighted that performance after the game, noting that the team did an excellent job of building a commanding lead heading into the fourth quarter before closing out the victory. The third quarter in particular showcased what Oklahoma City is capable of when they are locked in on both ends of the floor. The execution was there when it mattered most. The question now is whether OKC can replicate that focused intensity from the very first possession in Phoenix, rather than waiting for the game to settle before finding their rhythm. The Thunder have the defensive personnel to keep any game within reach regardless of the venue. Their ability to generate stops, communicate in transition, and limit easy scoring opportunities has been one of the pillars of their postseason identity across multiple seasons. If they can pair that defensive reliability with an aggressive, confident start on offense, knocking down open looks from three-point range, pushing the pace in transition, and drawing fouls to get to the free throw line early, the Suns will face the same sense of inevitability that has defined this series from Oklahoma City's perspective from the very start. Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP and clutch player of the year, will be the engine of whatever start OKC manufactures in Phoenix. His ability to control the pace of a game, get into the paint at will, and either finish or create for teammates makes him uniquely capable of dictating how the early portions of Game 3 unfold. When he is assertive from the opening tip, the Thunder tend to look like the dominant team they are. When he eases into the game, opponents sense the opening and build momentum that becomes difficult to reverse, especially on the road. Oklahoma City's roster is deep and talented enough to win on any floor in this league. But habits matter in the playoffs, and this team's road Game 3 record has been its most visible postseason weakness in recent memory. Fixing it starts with the opening tip in Phoenix. Come out aggressive, defend with urgency, and hit shots early, and the Thunder will be well on their way to a commanding 3-0 series lead heading back home. Entering Game 3 of their first-round playoff series against the Phoenix Suns, the Oklahoma City Thunder hold a commanding 2-year lead and remain firmly in control of the matchup. But beneath the dominant scoreline, a statistical weakness has been visible in both games. And with the team now missing Jalen Williams due to a hamstring injury, addressing that weakness has become far more than a minor adjustment. Oklahoma City needs its three-point shooting to come alive, and the player best positioned to lead that charge is guard Isaiah Joe. Joe has been one of the Thunder's most reliable long-range shooters throughout the 2025-26 regular season. His ability to knock down shots from beyond the arc with consistency made him one of the top 10 three-point shooters in the entire NBA this season, connecting at a 42.3% clip from deep. That accuracy transformed him into one of the most valuable off-ball threats on the roster, spacing the floor for Gilgeous-Alexander and Williams to operate, and providing an immediate scoring option whenever opponents shifted their attention to the Thunder's star players. During the regular season, his presence made Oklahoma City genuinely dangerous from anywhere on the floor, and the team's three-point percentage as a unit reflected his contributions directly. The playoffs, however, have told a different story. In Game 1 against the Suns, Joe managed just 9 points and connected on 37.5% of his three-point attempts. While that percentage is not catastrophic on its own, the team-wide impact was immediate and noticeable. Oklahoma City shot only 30% from behind the arc in Game 1, connecting on the 14 of 46 attempts, against a Suns defense that was determined to take away the paint. Those misses from three compounded the pressure on Gilgeous-Alexander to produce in isolation, and the offensive flow suffered as a result. Game 2 was even more troubling for Joe specifically. The sharpshooter, who had been one of the league's most reliable deep threats all season, made just 2 of his 7 attempts from three-point range, finishing with a 28.6% mark from deep. Once again, the team's three-point shooting struggled alongside him. Oklahoma City improved slightly as a group, hitting 35% from 3 in Game 2. But that number still falls well below what the Thunder are capable of when their shooters are in rhythm. For a team that uses spacing as a foundational element of its offensive system, cold nights from beyond the arc limit the entire operation. What makes Joe's early series slump particularly significant is the timing. Under normal circumstances, a thundering offensive force like Williams could compensate for a quiet night from a role player. Williams could draw defenders away from Joe, create open catch and shoot opportunities, and score in ways that did not depend on the three-point line to generate points. But with Williams now sidelined with his hamstring strain and expected to miss the remainder of the first round, that luxury is gone. The offensive structure becomes leaner. Every shooter on the floor matters more. Every missed three cost the Thunder a little more than it would have before. Joe will almost certainly carry a bigger role in Game 3. With Williams out of the lineup, the Thunder will need to find scoring from secondary sources, and Joe's ability to provide that from the perimeter is one of the team's clearest paths to offensive efficiency without their all-NBA forward. The Suns, knowing that Gilgeous-Alexander will be Oklahoma City's primary engine, will likely dedicate significant defensive attention to limiting his effectiveness. When defenses collapse on a star player, three-point shooters are supposed to punish them. Joe has the ability to be exactly that kind of punisher. He has done it throughout the regular season, and the Thunder need him to do it on the playoff stage. Beyond the numbers, there is also a momentum and energy dimension to Joe's role in Game 3. Playing on the road for the first time in this series, Oklahoma City will need contributors who can lift the team's confidence in a hostile environment. A couple of made threes from Joe in the early minutes can settle nerves, quiet the crowd, and establish the kind of rhythm that allows the entire offense to flow more freely. Conversely, another cold night from beyond the arc in Phoenix would put enormous pressure on Gilgeous-Alexander to shoulder even more of the load in an already challenging situation. The tools are there. Joe's regular season shooting numbers show that he is fully capable of performing at an elite level from three-point range. The postseason is a different challenge, and defenses are more prepared, but a player who connects at 42.3% during the regular season does not simply lose that ability once the calendar flips to April. Oklahoma City needs Joe to find his range, play with confidence, and give the Thunder the perimeter firepower they require to stay in complete control of this series. The Thunder's overall team three-point average during the regular season sat at 36.5%, a number that reflects how much Joe's production influenced the group's effectiveness from deep. Replicating even a fraction of that form in Game 3 would go a long way toward easing the transition created by Williams' absence. Oklahoma City remains the more talented team in this series, but talent alone does not win playoff games. Execution does, and right now, Isaiah Joe's three-point shot is the execution factor the Thunder need most. Wednesday night in Oklahoma City delivered both a victory and a blow that could define the remainder of the Thunder's postseason. The defending NBA champions defeated the Phoenix Suns 120-107 to take a 2-0 lead in their first round series, but the celebration was muted when Jalen Williams left the game in the third quarter with a left hamstring injury. The following day, the team confirmed the diagnosis, a grade 1 hamstring strain, and announced that Williams would be evaluated on a weekly basis. The injury is not the worst-case scenario, but it removes one of Oklahoma City's two best players from the lineup for what is expected to be the rest of the first round at minimum. That reality places the full weight of the Thunder's playoff ambitions squarely on the shoulders of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The reigning league MVP and clutch player of the year is no stranger to carrying heavy loads. Throughout the 2025-26 regular season, Williams missed extended stretches due to injury, and Gilgeous-Alexander responded each time with performances that reminded the basketball world why he sits at the top of the league's hierarchy of players. He does not need a co-star to be dominant. He simply needs the ball and space to operate, and when those conditions are present, the results are consistently spectacular. Game 2 against Phoenix offered a preview of what Gilgeous-Alexander can deliver even when the stakes are highest. He finished with 37 points and 9 assists, shooting 13 of 25 from the floor in a performance that controlled the pace and tone of the game from start to finish. The Suns had no reliable answer for him. He created off the dribble, drew fouls, hit pull-up jumpers in the mid-range, and distributed to open teammates throughout the night. It was the kind of complete performance that defines MVP caliber players, and the Thunder will need performances like that one, or even better, as they navigate the rest of this series and potentially deeper playoff rounds without Williams by their side. The challenge will intensify as the series shifts to Phoenix. Without Williams available to share the offensive burden, opposing defenses will have even more freedom to dedicate resources towards stopping Gilgeous-Alexander. Double teams, aggressive trapping, and carefully designed schemes aimed at taking the ball out of his hands will likely be Phoenix's primary strategic focus heading into games 3 and 4. Gilgeous-Alexander has faced that kind of attention before, and his ability to make the right read against pressure, finding the open man, drawing the foul, or simply creating an unmatchable shot regardless of coverage is one of the most refined skills in the sport. To help ease that burden, contributors like Chet Holmgren and Ajay Mitchell will need to absorb more offensive responsibility. Holmgren's versatility as a scorer and shot creator gives the Thunder a secondary option who can operate both in the post and on the perimeter, reducing the isolation pressure on Gilgeous-Alexander in half-court settings. Mitchell, who has shown maturity and composure throughout the season, will be asked to provide steady scoring and smart decision-making in situations where Williams previously handled those moments. The collective contributions of Oklahoma City's supporting cast could determine how much Gilgeous-Alexander has left in the tank for the critical moments of each game. One area of particular focus will be the minutes when Gilgeous-Alexander rests. In a normal playoff rotation, Williams would anchor the offense during those stretches, keeping the Thunder competitive and preventing opposing teams from building momentum while the star sits. With Williams unavailable, those minutes become the most vulnerable part of OKC's game plan. Managing those windows carefully, keeping Gilgeous-Alexander on the floor for somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes when necessary while protecting him from unnecessary fatigue, will be among head coach Mark Daigneault's most important decisions in the games ahead. The Thunder's defense remains one of the best units in the league, capable of keeping any game close regardless of what happens on the offensive end. That defensive foundation gives Gilgeous-Alexander and his supporting cast a margin for error that less equipped teams simply do not have. Even on a difficult offensive night, Oklahoma City is capable of grinding out wins by making the game ugly and limiting the opponent's scoring opportunities. That gives Gilgeous-Alexander the freedom to play his game without the weight of knowing that a quiet night offensively will cost the team the win. Everything points toward this being Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's moment to shine brightest. The team is counting on him, the series demands it, and his track record in high-pressure situations provides every reason to believe he will deliver. If he performs at or near his Game 2 level for the remainder of this series, the Thunder will advance. Williams' injury and all, the regular season provided a clear blueprint for what is possible. Each time Williams stepped away from the lineup, Gilgeous-Alexander elevated his game to compensate, producing performances that kept Oklahoma City in winning position. The playoffs are a different challenge. The competition is sharper, the schemes are more detailed, but the Thunder's MVP has shown no signs of wavering. His combination of scoring efficiency, playmaking intelligence, and competitive composure makes him the ideal player to steer this franchise through a difficult stretch and toward a second consecutive championship run.